to another episode of Genshin Impact. Apparently Lisa's gonna be in Sumeru, so let's see what's up with that.
Greetings! Welcome to the Citadel of Regzar. Would you be interested in taking on some commissions?
Dude, I talk to you weekly.
Are there any easy jobs where we can earn loads of mora for just standing around? Oh, better yet, for just sitting around? That's the kind of task we're interested in now.
Bold.
We don't currently have any commissions like that. However, I do have some relatively simple requests from residents that will pay several thousand mora.
Like the ones I take every week.
That's all? That isn't nearly enough for Paimon.
Want something a little more lucrative.
Yeah. Effendi, are there any high-paying commissions available?
Ah, I see. Let me think. Spontamod recently initiated a research project on the ley lines and is looking for paid volunteers. There are several researchers in Spontamod who specialize in studying ley lines, so there is a great demand for ley lines data. Researchers often need to enter domains to investigate ley line disorders.
Of course.
They have been understaffed for some time, even after recruiting a good number of their own students. So, now they've turned to recruiting large numbers of volunteers. They offer substantial pay,
and
but they also have strict requirements for the quality of the volunteers. Are you interested?
What are the requirements? I just assumed that I was qualified.
Yes. Let's walk through the recruitment process. First of all, are you proficient with one or more types of weapon?
I'm skilled with one-handed swords.
Very good. How's your understanding of elements? Are you capable of using elemental powers?
I'm experienced at using elemental powers in battle.
All right. I'll put you down as the Traveler, right? Okay. I finished the registration. I'll be coordinating the necessary supplies and payments for volunteers later. You'll have to find Gafoor for more details about the job. However, he has an important visitor today, so I don't think he'll be in the academia. According to the standard protocol for receiving visitors, he will most likely bring the visitor to the Puspa Cafe. You can go there and talk to him when his time with the visitor has finished. He sounded like he was in quite the rush to recruit volunteers when he contacted me, but now he's showing a visitor around. Seriously, who could be so important?
Best student you guys have had in years? I'd say that's important, yeah. I wonder, like, how academia generally views her. Like, disappointment because she went to become a knight. Instead of, like, continuing scholarly studies.
Do you still remember what the coffee's like here?
Of course. How could I forget? It used to be my go-to drink here. Listen, Gafoor. I suppose I should call you Professor Gafoor now. We're old acquaintances, so how about we stop beating around the bush, First you wanted to catch up, and now the coffee. If you have something to say, just say it.
Oh, that's Gafoor. He's the one we're searching for. But he seems to be busy talking with someone else.
Whose voice we obviously don't recognize, and we can't see 20 feet in front of us.
Nothing really. It's just that ever since you left the academia, our original projects and plans have lost their backbone, so to speak. Cyrus is also disappointed. He's always valued you as a proud disciple. To be honest, it's a real shame that you left the academia, Lisa. With your wisdom and intellect, had you stayed in the academia, you would have become a Herbad by now.
What's she doing here?
Hold on. That's Lisa! The librarian Lisa! Our Lisa!
I wish they wouldn't treat these characters like such idiots at times.
I've studied at the academia before, but that was a long time ago. What's Lisa doing here now?
Like, it would have been really easy for Paimon to come in and go, oh, that's, and then they just cut right over to the conversation, and then it's revealed that it's Lisa, instead of going, I think he's talking to somebody, I don't know who it is though, I don't understand that voice, that voice is unrecognizable, and oh my god, she changed her clothes so she's completely unrecognizable.
If I'm reading the situation right, you're reminiscing about the past to convince me to come back, aren't you?
Well, I heard that you're currently the librarian
that
for
is
the
a
Knights
common
of
form of
Favonius in
manipulation.
Mondstadt. If you ask me, that's a tragic waste of your talents. Why waste your time and energy on something as trivial as taking care of a library? Your time is much more valuable than that. If you're willing to come back to the Academia, I have plenty of projects for you to preside over right away. The Academia needs people right now, and some of these projects are quite important.
Yawn. So all this talk is to convince me to come back. I'm guessing Professor Cyrus doesn't know that you're talking to me about this.
As a matter of fact, he has long wanted you to come back and work at the Academia.
Is that so? You know, Professor Gafoor, it isn't a good idea to lie to people. Our teacher knows exactly why I left the Academia after only 2 years. He would never ask me to come back. Giving up my life in Mondstadt and returning to the Academia as a Spontamod researcher. The price of seeking wisdom is no longer something I'm willing to pay. So please, don't bother trying to get me to come back.
Wow! So Lisa used to be a Spontamod researcher? Paimon's never heard her mention it before.
She is a terrible whisperer. She's over there like, wow, Lisa! Like they can't hear her. Keep your voice down.
Besides, taking care of a library is important work. I've never considered it a waste of my time. Wisdom is hidden in every corner of the world. Never underestimate wisdom, no matter how small it may appear. That's what our teacher always said. A good scholar wouldn't overlook the small details, Gafoor. I'm sorry. I'm still not used to calling you Professor. Nevertheless, the underlying meaning of what you just said is simply wrong. And there's one other detail you probably haven't noticed. 2 people have been eavesdropping on us for quite a while now. Is there anything we can help you 2 with?
Hello, Lisa!
Long time no see, Lisa.
Well, if it isn't you 2. Long time no see, cutie. Paimon.
Excuse me, but what business do you 2 have here?
It's a fucking cafe, bro. Relax.
Actually, we're here to participate in a research project on ley lines for Spontamod. We just finished registering with Effendi.
Didn't want to interrupt your conversation. That would have been rude.
A research project on ley lines? Oh, darling. You haven't joined the Academia, have you?
All these project volunteers, I would never, ever join this pathetic organization.
Alright, Effendi told us a research project is looking for paid volunteers. That's what we came to see Gafoor about.
Paid volunteers? Gafoor, is the Academia really that understaffed? Or are there projects that insist on the use of outsiders?
No. The paid volunteers are for a conventional project to monitor the ley lines. All operations follow the prescribed safety protocols. We rely on a lot of manpower to collect the data. There's no way around it now. But if only you would agree to come back and preside over some matters, we wouldn't have to go through all this nonsense.
If memory serves me right, collecting ley lines data requires investigators to go deep into domains, which can be dangerous.
We've seen our fair share of combat since leaving Mondstadt. Exploring a domain is like a walk in the park to us.
I think she knows that.
It's been so long now. I can only imagine what wonderful stories you have to share.
So there's nothing to worry about.
Since you 2 are here to apply for the project, then please wait a moment while I talk to Lisa.
I'm sorry, Gafoor. My answer is still no.
Aren't you even a little bit interested?
I have never regretted my decision to leave the Academia. I don't think that will change in the future.
Like, dog, you're begging. It's not a good look.
I thought after all this time you would have a different answer. But you're still as obstinate as ever, Lisa. You've made yourself clear. I'll only make a fool of myself if I keep insisting.
Correct.
In that case, I still have unfinished business to take care of, so I'll take my leave. See you at the Darshan reunion in a few days.
Yes. Don't worry. I'll be there on time.
As for you 2, please come see me later in the Mautiima Forest when you're free. We'll need your help with the volunteer work. Oh, and one last thing, Lisa.
Yes?
I wish you the best of luck in Mondstadt.
Thank you. Well then, cuties. Now that the recruiter is gone, we can sit down and have a good chat.
Gafoor? Apparently, yes.
Much has been happening within the academia, and Gafoor is paving the way for his future.
By the way, Lisa, what brought you to Sumeru? Are the Knights okay with you being gone?
Everybody can take a vacation.
Of course. Jean gave me an extended paid vacation. It's rare that I get any time off, so I thought to myself, why not go on a trip and relax a little? I don't know how much of our conversation you heard,
That doesn't sound like
but I
relaxation.
studied in the Spontamad Darshan at the Academia for 2 years. But instead of staying at the Academia after graduation, I went back to Mondstadt to become the librarian for the Knights of Favonius.
So that's why you came to Sumeru, right? To walk around and meet with your old friends and teachers.
So, I guess I'm not entirely sure. Are the Darshans like a graduate degree? Or is it like a focus after your like first 2 years of core classes? Or some years of core classes where it's like everything? Or can you just graduate from the academia in 2 years? Because that would actually kind of stun me based on what we've seen of the academia so far. It seems like they like purposefully want to drag your education out as long as possible. Why'd you choose to leave the academia?
You'd like to know, wouldn't you? Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt if I told you. After all, it was ages ago. If anything, it all boils down to a difference in philosophy. When I first came to the academia, Professor Cyrus really appreciated my work and invited me to participate in several major projects. But most of those projects ended in failure. To be honest, they went too far trying to achieve wisdom beyond mortal understanding, so failure was only to be expected. I didn't want any part of that lunacy, so I left.
Lunacy.
Anyway,
Get 'em.
now that I
Get 'em.
told you, make sure you keep it between us.
A pretty simple explanation. We just
Sounds like you've experienced a lot.
have different philosophies.
I don't wish to return to the academia, even if Professor Cyrus came to ask me personally. Rather than conducting experiments day and night, I'm much more suited for working hours that start after 10 a.m., with regular afternoon tea every day.
Oh, Lisa chose to be a librarian because she doesn't want to deal with hassles all the time.
It's Lisa's style. Talking about her in the third person, even though she's right in front of us. That's quite rude.
I prefer to take things at my own pace when it comes to tiring tasks like a job. And besides, being able to take regular vacations is also really important. It's a pity I didn't even have time to visit that child in Gandharvaville yet. Gafoor found me just after I arrived in Sumeru. Speaking of which, what about you two? What brings my favorite cuties to Sumeru?
We've been here. You knew we were coming here.
I see. Even I didn't expect them to be so bent on their pursuit, wanting to even surpass the gods. Sounds like you were involved in some remarkable events again, and I was completely unaware. And to think, you were even able to handle a crisis of that magnitude. Cutie, your abilities are really beyond measure. Having accomplished such a feat, I'm sure you must have a lot on your plate right now. I was actually thinking about inviting you two to walk around Sumeru with me. What a pity. It's very rare for us to meet like this.
I'm really not busy. That's why we took that job.
Oh, then would you like to spend some time with me, darling? That would be wonderful. I plan to spend the next few days visiting around Sumeru City. At the end of my stay, I'll leave from Gandharvaville and return to Mondstadt via Liyue. Who knows? Perhaps we'll bump into each other again in Sumeru City or Gandharvaville. Come to think of it, there's something romantic about such a chance encounter like this. It's like icing on the cake for this little vacation of mine. If you see me around, be sure to come and say hello. Otherwise, I might start feeling lonely.
So this is Lisa's visit to Sumeru. I didn't know until day 8 that you could find her in various places. So we got the first scene and then the last scene. But everything in between, I'm going to have to react to. So I'm reacting to Azure Max's cutscene gameplay. Well, it's not really gameplay, it's just the cutscenes. You'll see the name in the video, and then I'll link their YouTube profile to the video. Check them out. They do a lot of cutscene, like no commentary stuff like that. So if you're interested, you can go check them out. Thanks.
Hey, cutie. We meet again.
This place sure wasn't easy to find.
I used to live in Sumeru City.
Did they tell us she was going to be here?
Back, I can't help but want to visit these small, remote shops. It's a pity that my old favorite clothing shop has already been closed for some time.
Well, your new clothing
place
is fantastic.
I wanted to buy some accessories and clothes to give to the other ladies in the Knights of Favonius. What a pity.
The new outfit looks great!
Well, what do you think?
It's
always nice
everything.
to hear compliments from other people, especially you. Thank you, cutie. I managed to find the owner of that old clothing shop and had it custom tailored. Wearing it reminds me of my days at the academia.
Wait, really?
What a busy time that was for me.
That's what you wore!
However, my researchers were never lazy. Unlike the people who borrow books and don't return them. Now that I think of it, punishing them with a zap of electro may have still been too lenient. Ah, it's you, cutie. I knew we'd cross paths again.
What are you looking at, Lisa?
Oh, just these painted utensils in this shop. Aren't they exquisite? I'm thinking about buying some to take back for decoration. And those plates. If we served tea on them, Jean wouldn't be able to resist, even in the middle of work.
I don't think those are for sale.
For sale? Honestly, why put it in the shop if you don't intend to sell it? How disappointing. Oh, they're so beautiful, too. Hey, cutie. Are you here at the Grand Bazaar to catch some performances?
You like the performances here?
Yes, they are quite amusing. I even wonder if I should start taking notes on the formats of some of the programs. Who knows? Perhaps it'll come in handy for the next Ludi Harpastum. Kaya could take charge of the jokes, but dancing might prove to be a little tricky.
You seen the dancing here before?
Yes, there was a lovely girl with red hair dancing yesterday. I had a front row seat.
I feel like everybody has a front row seat.
I can't help but wonder how great it would be to see similar performances in Mondstadt.
You just have to convince Nilo to perform in Mondstadt.
I think the biggest challenge would be to get Eula, captain of the reconnaissance company, to show some interest in dancing, as well as to find a beautiful outfit she would agree to wear.
You're trying to get you involved.
Eula is surprisingly gullible when it comes to certain things. Rather than inviting the performers to Mondstadt, it would be easier to trick, ask her to dance.
That's a random place.
Hey, what are you doing around the academia?
You on your way into the academia?
Actually, I was just leaving. I had a reunion with Professor Cyrus and some fellow apprentices, as well as other
What are you doing around here? I'm
with
surprised
in
you
the
were so
past.
shocked.
How time flies. I could tell just from their appearances that they've been really busy. I, on the other hand, have had it pretty easy. They must be so jealous.
I would doubt that.
That being said, since I've already indulged
They
so
like what
much,
they do.
I should probably eat less cake next month.
Should, but shan't.
Its name is Sog? Oh, what a nice puppy.
That's not what I thought it was. Do you like the search and
course.
rescue dogs?
I love obedient puppies, especially the ones that let you rub their belly and look at you with their little sparkling eyes.
Oh.
Actually, I've always wanted to get a dog. Not only could it help
see.
keep me in a good mood, but it could also intimidate others when need be. But if I got a dog, it'd be too much hassle to groom it and clean up after it all the time. That's the trouble with pets. I suppose I'm not really suited to have
Could
one.
rub my belly. I'll do that while also cleaning myself.
Don't worry, Lisa. I'm fine now.
Greetings.
It's
Seasons.
the Traveler. What you doing here?
Here to see you, Kale.
Do you come to visit Kale often, cutie?
She's amazing. All of us in Gandharvaville already have a lot to thank her for.
Kale and I are very good friends.
Well then, It seems my little Kale has been making some new friends in Sumeru.
And I've been doing my best to learn how to read. Now I can even read some simple sentences. Master and everyone in Sumeru has taken good care of me, but I've never forgotten my friends in Mondstadt. I've actually been thinking about taking some time to go back for a visit. Miss Lisa, how's everyone doing? Well, I hope. What about Amber? And Kaya? Oh, and Jean.
Slow down, Kale. I'll tell you all about them. Sorry, darling. Seems I'll need some time here. I want to tell Kale about what's happening in Mondstadt.
You do that, and while you do that, I will be super nosy and violate your mind space.
Why didn't Amber come?
How
should I ask Lisa about Amber? What should I do?
She is just the most precious thing!
It's amazing how much the Traveler has grown. I wonder what the future holds in store.
Duh! She intentionally used something super generic there as her thought process.